Hello and welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate podcast. I'm here with Rod Kuntz today. Rod, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're having a great week. As you noticed, we had a calf on property. Been 2 days now, so it's pretty fun.
Exciting.
You know,
Exciting. That's a
it
sign
is
of spring.
it is a sign of spring, right? I've been traveling the state with my candidate for governor, Tanner Smith, and there's calves all over the state. And weather's always a factor. We had this storm come through here, and fortunately, it was just an easy 32 degrees, basically, give or take a point or two. So it's not too bad on the calves. But how exciting to have that going on right now.
That is. And it's spring too. It's that and Easter, new life, right? It's so fitting that here it comes. It's in your face in the spring. And the robins are outside singing, and they're not just singing, they're calling in mates. And our dogs have been looking at what's going on, and it's like, what are these things doing? There's a little activity in the backyard in the trees these days. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Well, that is a good lead into the topic that I have for today. And I hope that people pay attention, because this is reality. And the calves brought it to mind, but also something you said on our coaching call this week. And I want to cover those things. And so the topic is living the life that you plan. Okay, live the life that you plan. And what I want to say about that is, we talk a lot about the soft skills in business. We talk about values and goals, and getting down that path. But what comes along with those business goals are also personal goals. And oftentimes when you're writing those personal goals, you look at, well, where do I want to be? Where do I want to retire? Where do I want to live? All these things that you have the ability to map out and plan. And if done correctly, with passion and persistent pursuit of those things, you can and you will live the life you plan. And so going back to this calf that we had 2 days ago, I literally was in my office I was actually closing everything down. I had to leave and get to an appointment on the other side of town, and my wife wasn't around. And typically what that looks like, Rod, is, I'll clean up my stuff and I'll go downstairs and tell the kids, like, hey, I'm leaving. Your mom will be home in a few minutes. They're at an age where, they can take care of themselves. They know how to operate the 9mm or the shotgun. They know how to feed themselves and not to answer the door. But anyways, we're kind of passing. Well, the kids come running up. Daddy, there's a calf. We got a baby calf. So they're freaking out. And I'm going, shit, I'm going to miss my appointment if I don't get out of here. So anyways, spent a few minutes with that. Calf was fine. Left the girls. Wife's on her way. She's, a couple blocks away. So I called him like, hey, I'm leaving. We got a new calf in the yard. I hung up with her, and it's like, I'm so excited for the life that we're living, the life that we had planned. When I go back and look at my goals that I wrote down 6 years, almost 7 years ago, it was exactly the life that I'm living. And it was interesting because I thought, well, who can I call? I was so excited. So I called my mom.
Awesome.
And I tell her about the calf. She's like, oh my gosh, that's so great. I said, Mom, I just want you to know, because she lives in California and we don't get to see her very often, especially the kids. I said, just want you to know that we're living the life that we planned. We're living the life that I told you we'd be living. I'm raising the kids the way I told you I'd raise them, doing all the things that we had mapped out. And she's like, honey, I'm just so happy for you guys. Your girls are so amazing. And I think the important part of that message is, if you have the intent to do something and you're passionate about it, you can be doing that. And I just felt so compelled. Like, my mom misses my kids. She misses being a part of our daily lives. We literally lived next door to her for a year. And then when we moved, we lived, just a few miles away. We saw a lot of her in the first few years of my kids. And so when I moved, I said, Mom, don't worry, we're going to live with intention and purpose to raise the best kids that we can possibly raise, with values and goals and understanding of, what it means to live a life of, whether that's on a ranch or at the beach or what have you, anything but that cement jungle that we came from. And so I was having a proud dad moment but I have to go back to the lessons that I'd learned, the things that have been taught, not only from my grandfather, but mentors like David Meltzer, all the books that we've read, the books that we recommend on our website. And so, Rod, you said something the other night in the coaching group, and that's the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. If you're wondering, yes, we'd love to have you as a member. It's a wonderful community. But Rod, you said, you could sit around all day at home because you could be retired, but you chose to put in some hours daily with UPS and have so much fulfillment there, and get off your butt. And really what you were saying, Rod, is you have the freedom to do what you want to do because you planned out your life in a way that at your age now, you can either sit on your butt all day and watch the robins in the backyard with your dogs, or, you can go be productive and have intention and purpose with UPS. And that statement just really resonated with me. And I thought, how awesome is that you get to make that choice, right? So tell me about living the life that you plan, and explain to our audience how fulfilling that is. And if you really do stick to the plan, you can be in the same place.
Well, I'm going to hit this from a couple of different directions, Jim. And what a great topic. I hear it's almost passe when you ask somebody, well, how's it going? If you haven't seen someone in a while, well, how's it going? And my oldest son is one of these, and he always just says, live in the dream, Dad. I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
But you hit something here, and it's not enough to dream. You have to live the plan. You have to plan. If you're going to dream it, that's one thing. And that's having a vision, or, that aspiration of what you see things. But if you don't have a plan, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's never going to be more than that if you don't have a plan. So I think I want to spin that around and start saying, I'm living the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living the plan. What's that? To attain the dream. The plan is to attain the dream, and my dream, and it coincides with yours, so it's not a surprise to anybody that our values align here. My biggest goal has always been family. And there was, in fact, 30 years ago, my wife and I actually designed a little bumper sticker, and we were going to print these things out. And it was Greenpeace was out doing the Save the Whales and all that stuff. And we thought, why are people worried about all the animals and stuff out there? And we already saw a disintegration of the family going on. We homeschooled before it was popular.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what was the erosion of the family value. We saw that happening, and we were doing everything we could to push back against that. And so we wanted to start this organization called Save the Family. And the logo we had, this is the irony here, was a rainbow. So it's a good thing we never went anywhere with that, because that has been certainly turned upside down on its head. But family has been everything for my wife and I. So our goal, our dream, was to be with our kids, not let someone else raise them, not let the school raise them, but to literally be with them, be a part of their lives, and build a family together, a solid family unit. So I attained that dream as I was attaining the other dream. And it's, you've part of my family, at least you've met some of them. So you can see the fruit of that. And that's the dream we wanted to live. But the other thing about my wife and I, when we were sitting down with, dreaming, right? Dreaming, setting goals together. And we did that. The other thing that we both knew was that we would never retire. We both knew that. Yeah. We are working people. We enjoy our work. We value work. We value productivity. And so we knew we would never go into retirement, and go buy a place and sit in a lawn chair and watch the sunset. Or go golf all the time, or whatever that is. I don't know. Our idea for retirement is to continue to be productive until the day we die.
Yeah.
And to enjoy every minute that we can with our family, and to pass those traditions and morals and values on. And so that's my dream, and we attain that. But in so doing, it's like, okay, well, what's that next step? Sometimes finding the next the next opportunity that's going to keep you engaged and focused and fulfilled is not always easy, especially when you've accomplished other things. I had several different careers and was successful in all of them, but shifting gears and shifting careers can be hard. And especially like you did, moving, packing your family up to move to do that. Those things are hard too. And so it takes sacrifice along with commitment, because you will, well, and I think you and Samantha were so courageous to do what you did, to pack up and leave, because you were leaving your family to participate in your new family together. And that's a hard thing. My wife and I built our family outside of that family supportive bubble. We didn't have grandparents to watch our kids and all that stuff. And that makes it harder for this generation, I think. They're doing it all by themselves. And it shouldn't be that way. I think we lose a lot by doing that. So that's really talking around your topic a great deal. But
there's some really good points there. And I think, you just touched on moving, and, thanks for the compliment. I think there's a lot of people moving right now, outside of their family, because we live in a society now where so many people are divided. And I think it's really unfortunate when families get divided over politics and religion and those things. But that aside, I think there's a lot of courageous people out there that are moving. And what I want them to hear is that if they build a plan around that move and they're passionate about it, that they will find the happiness that they're looking for, if it's for all the right reasons, and doing a deep dive into your values. And man, I love when people get into our group, our community of the Young Entrepreneurs Syndicate, because we talk about those values. We talked about them on this last Monday.
Right.
Somebody was mentioning that, what do you do when you're going down the road and you think you're going to do this and have success and it doesn't work out? Well, was it aligned with your values? Because if it's not, you're probably in the wrong spot. If it does align with your values, maybe you just need to work a little harder and longer until it gets there. What's interesting too, while you were talking, I was thinking about my plan and family. Family was really 95% of my plan on the move. It was family focused, right? God and family focused. The other 5% was, okay, well, what am I going to work? What does that look like? So that it can accommodate my family needs. What's crazy, Rod, is nowhere in any of those plans or goals was there like a bucket of money. You know what I mean? Right. I never said, well, we're going to have X amount of money in the 401k and the savings account and, cash in the safe and all these things. Nowhere was that there, but we are living a life of happiness because we've obtained the goal. 100%.
100%.
And so the other side of this plan, and everybody's different, but I want people to know that they don't need a pile of cash to achieve a plan and happiness, because oftentimes some of that pile of cash is sacrificed for, as you suggested, Rod, time with the family. What's Absolutely. More important, right? Because you're not taking cash to the grave with you. And I think I'm expressing this because I don't want, and I see it a lot, people are chasing making all this money, this fabricated number that they feel like they need based on what they see in society. And the reality is it's not important when you focus on the values and really what's important to you as an individual. In our cases, it was family. And I would venture to guess that most people, it's family.
Absolutely, it is.
So
it should be. And if it's not, it should be. I will go that far. And the other thing is we've never focused on the money. I mean, it's a part of it. You can't not, gosh, how do I want it? It's not the priority. Money's not the priority, but it doesn't have to be the focal point, nor should it be. And if you're doing everything the right way according to your values and you're pursuing it diligently and patiently and with a plan, the money will come. The money will be there. You will get through it. Even if you have down times, down quarters, down years, you will still get through it. I guarantee it. You will get through it.
Well,
So
what's interesting too, when you think about the allocation of money in your own family unit, right? Like maybe you don't have enough to go out to a fancy dinner, so maybe it's, a local diner that's half the price, and maybe that night doesn't include enough money to go to the movies. But what it does include is a game of cards at the table at the diner, which, by the way, we've been doing that a lot lately. We'll go to a family friendly local restaurant. There's a cider Mountain Cider Works here locally, family owned and operated, but it's family friendly. They got games and stuff in there, and it's a cider place, and they've got good food. Well, we bring the kids and we play 5 crowns. We sit there for 2 hours. Nobody cares. There's plenty of tables. Nobody's waiting on our table. If they were, we'd probably get up and move over to the game area. But, we found ways to enjoy one another's company, which is far more meaningful than the garbage that we would see at a movie theater, right?
exactly.
And we are interacting. What was so cool, you'll appreciate this. We went there last week and we were playing 5 crowns, which I'm just new to that game. It's kind of like a rummy, I suppose. Two of the servers came by, one old, one younger, and both said, "Oh my gosh, I love that game. We used to play with that with our kids. Or we still play that. Or, oh, I have the best memories playing that game." And we're like, wow, we're doing the same thing. We're making memories here right now
Yes.
playing this game. And so when you're trying to build out your plan and your business and where you're going to be, please factor in that it doesn't have to center around cash. It should center around the important use of your time and energies and who that time is with. And maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you've got a spouse. Maybe it's with your parents. Maybe it's with a best friend. Whatever that looks like for you, realize that your human interaction is far more important than that money that most people are trying to achieve. So
I've never seen, I'll interrupt real quick. I've never seen on a headstone ever somebody's net worth.
Yeah.
Right. You see the birth date, you don't see, there's a dash and then the death date, but you don't see their net worth. Nobody cares. And sadly, my wife even said it was kind of morbid this morning. I did a post and I said, at the end of your life, someone's going to stand up and they're going to sum it up in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, net worth is not going to come up.
Yeah.
How much money you had left in savings is not going to come up. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you don't save. It doesn't mean you don't plan ahead. It doesn't mean you don't contribute to a 401k or have some other strategies out there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not the most important thing. It should not be the focus.
Yeah. So let's tie this in a little bow for our entrepreneurs that are listening and what that might mean to them. Okay. And I'm just going to relate my own circumstances. What this means to me is I'm chasing my values as it relates to my business and goals. And those values are, if I can spend more time with God and my kids, my family, then I'm hitting the mark 100% of the time. And sometimes the exchange of that time might be the joy that my kids receive from a calf that was born 2 days ago, and the amount of time that we've spent staring out the window, going out there, loving on it, feeding it, making sure, nurturing it, as well as the anticipation of another one coming. That far outweighs saving $5,000 to go on a Hawaii vacation or whatever that might look like. Right. So when I'm working my plan, I understand implicitly what the value system looks like within that plan and where the exchange of money should be. Now, I will say, I'm not opposed to making money or making lots of money, because the more you make, the more you can give.
Yes.
Right. And if you get money to give money, that's really where there's a lot of power and strength. But if you give to get, and oftentimes we give our time to get more money, you're going to lose every time. So just understand that the relationship with money can be healthy. It doesn't have to be the biggest part of your plan, but if you happen to come across, some wealth and some opportunities, just know that the opportunity to give rises. So that's my message on this.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'll close out just by saying, and I'll do a personal story here as well. My wife and I, we believe in tithing. We believe that, God gave us all this. In his goodness, he gave us everything. So we're giving back. That's what we're doing. But I learned this from my daughter. They don't always just tithe to, a religious organization, a tax-free organization. They put that money aside. And then if something happens, if something comes up, if there's a need, you can fill it for someone.
Yeah.
And just, it's not even a question. And that is such a good feeling when all of a sudden something happens, somebody needs something, and it can be substantial sometimes. Somebody needs a deposit to get into a house because they're breaking out of a bad relationship or something, and that has happened. And you've got the ability to just literally say, here it is. Nothing is holding you back now. And there's not a better feeling in the world than to have the ability and the freedom and to know where it came from. It was a gift from God that you're able to give forward to somebody else and to let them know that this wasn't us that's doing it. This is the hand of God touching you right now.
Yeah.
And to pass that message along and to keep that going. So I'm here to change the world one person at a time.
I love that.
One relationship at a time. That's my goal. That's my dream, and I'm living it.
I love that you positioned that donation that way, because you're right. It doesn't always have to be to a church or a 501c3. It's funny. I wanted to give some money the other day, last week or something, to an organization. And they're like, oh, well, you may not want to because we don't have our 501c3. It's like, I'm not concerned about that. I'm not looking for a tax write-off. I'm looking to support what you're doing and get you further down the road. The tax has nothing to do with it, right? And that the act of freely giving, regardless of your own personal consequences, whether you can write it off on your taxes or not, I don't even think that should be factored. And I know that there's financial strategies around that, and I take advantage of that as well. But when you give freely, like you're recommending and suggesting, there's no greater feeling. It's interesting, and I don't do it nearly enough. I went to a fast food place in town. I don't do that very much either, so that's probably a good thing. But I was with my daughter. We were running to the bank in town and then getting back out of town. Sorry, I know you live in town.
It's okay.
Anyways, we pull into this fast food place. I was going to grab something quick on the drive-thru, and I realized that there was a lady waiting to get in. Now, I had the right of way, but I thought, gosh, I almost feel like I cut her off, right? Because I was able to get in first, and she'd been sitting there waiting. So I bought her food, in the drive-thru. I'm like, hey, I want to buy her food for the lady behind me. I felt bad. It was $10. Okay. Not a big deal. But, I felt so good about that. Like, hey, I had an opportunity to do something good today. And what's cooler about that is that my daughter saw it. And then you get to explain to your kid, like, well, this is why I did it. And hey, what does it matter? It's only money. Not a big deal. Probably made her day, whatever. Maybe she bought another meal, had enough to buy another meal the next day, whatever. But the act of giving is so powerful, whether that's a cup of coffee for the person behind you in line, a couple tacos for the person in the drive-thru, or something substantial like what you said. Maybe somebody just needs to have the resources to move, right? Make that part of your plan. You will not regret it. So I'm going to leave it at that. We could talk forever. Okay. I love this topic.
We ought to hit this subject again because, people need to know it's okay to give. And that there's reward. There's reward in that also.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, if you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend. If you've got a topic, we'd love to hear it. We'll talk on it. It's got to come to me because Rod can't know in advance. These are always a surprise for him. And if you are interested in joining our community, the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, that is not just for young adults. That's for young in heart, mind, body, soul. And we want to help get you there. If you're not, go to youngentrepreneurs.com, join up. I'm loving the new members that we have right now because I'm so excited for their journey. So,
yes,
it's funny. I want more members for more journeys, not for more. I mean, money's good, but I want to see this community grow in a way that we can be helpful and all the things, So
I wish if people are just listening to this podcast, what you need to know right now is that Jim has this beaming smile on his face because that's what this is all about for both of us and for Rachel. We are literally here. It brings us such joy to see people growing their business. And that's what
Yeah.
we're here to do, is just to help. So,
Man, I have a topic for next week, so I'm not even going to tell you
better
right
write
now.
it down.
All right. Thanks for
Don't
tuning
forget.
in. That's the show.
All right.